All right. So number 7 is it asks the victims of a criminal enterprise to solve a crime. Imagine if someone managed to escape from a ring of kidnappers. The kidnappers, knowing they were guilty, began to free their victims. Half the people are free when the cops burst in, and half are still in chains. How would they determine who was a kidnapped victim and who was a kidnapper? I have no idea. I mean, you could just check to see what they were doing prior to the kidnapping, but all I know is that the worst way to solve the crime would be to ask the people who weren't in chains to solve the crime. Yet, that's what the California Task Force proposes. And when it comes to reparations, this is not just a hypothetical scenario. Although California was supposed to be a free state, as many as 1,500 Black people were illegally transported to California between 1849 and 1861. I suspect it will be hard for Native Californians who actually descend from the enslaved people to find their documentation of their ancestors' theft. I don't want to sound like a bigot, but in my experience, thieves are usually terrible at record keeping.
Oh my God. So first, the analogy doesn't make any fucking sense. Essentially, when we talk about kidnappers, we would be talking about like the American government as being the responsible party in all of this. And part of the reason why the reparations needs to be paid is because they have not did the right thing for us in regards to justice is concerned. So I don't know, like trying to say that using the American government would be the same as turning to our kidnappers or whatever the case may be he's trying to argue, like it's ridiculous because there is no other entity we can turn to actually resolve this issue. We have to go to the American government. It is the only entity that could solve this. But this whole, I suspect that they don't have the documentation. Well, what are you basing that on? Like, this is the problem with a lot of these people. They're just assuming things and they're not actually like backing it up with anything like of substance. We watched the task force have a meeting where they brought in 6 genealogists. 5 of the 6 people basically said they would be able to trace lineage and it would not be a problem. So I don't know what people are talking about. Yeah, I'll just leave it there.
And this whole notion that these are terrible at record keeping, nah, these plantation owners, they kept the records so that they can recoup after the war. They kept their records secured where they were. And being someone who has looked up some of the records in the state of Connecticut, like these people wrote down their slaves and how many slaves they owned so they could get insurance from Connecticut and Massachusetts and New York. So this man with this whole premise, he sounds idiotic. I've seen the records. They keep them. Like, that's a lie. Move on.
Yeah, I'll just bring up Irene Triplett. She was the last surviving person to receive Civil War benefits, and she passed away in 2020. This idea that we can't go back that far is complete nonsense. We've been paying people since the end of the Civil War. Actually, before then, but let's keep it there. Like, we keep incredible records for what was going on at the time. Because, you know, the whole Civil War, we destroyed the country, united the country. It was a whole lot of weirdness going on.
Yeah.
And we kept immaculate records. We know who we are. We know who the people who were targeted.
And to extend upon that before you read number 6, like looking in New England, like they have been able to track Black people in New England since the 1600s. Like, we are there. We exist here. It's not hard to find us. This is an easy job for America to do because we're here. We didn't go nowhere. So yeah.